Ms. Henry.
Mr. Hikes,
Here.
Ms. Weiss,
Here.
Ms. Hubbard,
Here.
Ms. Fowl, Ms. Jones,
Here.
Mr. Davis,
Present.
Ms. Cousins.
Yes.
We have a quorum.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Spring into Fitness. Join us Saturday, April 13th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Ashland Elementary School, 3921 North Newstead Avenue, to engage in a district-wide spring fitness feast including 1.5-mile fun run, a 5K race sponsored by Parent Action Council and Go St. Louis. In addition, we will have Zumba and yoga classes for all fitness levels. To register for this family-friendly event, visit www.slps.org/fitness. Spire Cares. Spire Energy, led by CEO Steve Lindsay, recently visited 3 SLPS elementary schools, Peabody, Humboldt, and Merrimack. Embracing a spirit of literacy, the Spire team engaged students with encouraging conversation, jokes, and imaginative storytelling. Their commitment to education was evident as they generously donated books to each classroom visit. Thank you to the team at Spire Energy for their contribution to fostering literacy and education in our community. Dr. Scarlett?
Good evening, everyone. Spirit of Excellence, Vashon Boys Basketball and Art Show winners. Tonight, the Spirit of Excellence shines brightly on the Vashon High School boys basketball team for their remarkable achievement in winning the 2024 Missouri Class 4 Boys State Basketball Championship last month. This incredible victory marks the team's fifth consecutive championship. And go ahead. And their 15th overall. Congratulations to this exceptional group of scholar athletes and Coach Tony Irons and everyone who contributed to the success of this championship winning team. I would also like to take this opportunity to acknowledge some of St. Louis's most talented young artists who participated in the 23rd annual St. Louis Public Schools Art Fair at the Zoo, held last Friday, April 5th. Join me in congratulating all of the winners, and you all, they were all winners. That was the most beautiful art presentation. It was just amazing. Among them, we highlight Kayon Greenlee, recipient of the Early Childhood Award for Pre-K and Kindergarten, Gabriela Ramirez. Gabriela is honored with the SLPS Foundation Award for grades PK through 5. Tora Johnson, who earned the Zoo's President's Award for grades 6 through 8, and Jordan Henderson. She was recognized with the Superintendent's Award for grades 9 through 12. We applaud all of these outstanding artists, along with every participant, for their creativity and dedication. Also, thank you to Mr. Grapperhaus for his vision in this work. This wonderful event was sponsored by the St. Louis Public Schools Foundation and the St. Louis Zoo. The list full of winners can be found on the district's social media platforms. Congratulations to all the artists. PBS 9 and SLPS Partner for Literacy. St. Louis Public Schools and 9 PBS celebrated a momentous occasion on Friday, April 5th, in their ongoing joint efforts to enhance literacy in education. Literacy for the Lou. At Shenandoah Elementary School, the final delivery of learning resources included an impressive 36,000 books for the 2024 school year was unveiled. That deserves a hand. Among the books distributed were copies of the locally produced and critically acclaimed comic series Drawn In, capturing the imaginations of students. We thank 9 PBS for providing these valuable resources and for their continued partnership in promoting literacy and education for SLPS students and the children of St. Louis. Parents and family voices. We are one short week away from our first of 4 SLPS family forums. Join me next week, Tuesday, April 16th from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at Roosevelt High School. SLPS families will be able to engage in conversations and give feedback on a variety of topics impacting their children and our district. Refreshments and childcare will be provided. Door prizes will be awarded at each forum. Registration for the Parent and Voice Forum is open, and you can RSVP by visiting www.slps.org/voice-RSVP. And that concludes
Dr. Scarlett.
All right, so we have a presentation, our audit update. I'll ask Chief Angie Banks to come up to the podium.
Well, good evening. I'll be providing the fiscal year 2023 audit. This is a little bit unusual. There is no presentation, and usually our auditors, Reuben Brown, are up here, and perhaps a member of the audit committee are here. But again, this is an unusual situation. As you know, the prior year audit is typically due on December 31st, so we are late. First time to my knowledge, as I've been here 17 years, and I don't recall being late before. And I know there's been lots of interest in the status of the audit. There's lots of questions that people have. But I know that I've been reporting to the board probably since October or November that there were challenges. And as you know, many baby boomers like myself have retired recently from the district that take a lot of historical knowledge with them, and it's very difficult replacing that knowledge. So things have definitely been difficult, and especially when you consider that school district finance talent is in very high demand right now, so there are a lot of districts chasing the same resources. So things are definitely a challenge. One of the implications of having a late audit is that our state aid is withheld beginning in January until the audit is completed and sent to DESE. And there are also some APR implications. There's a reduction in the number of points just based on being late with the audit. So we've already received, for this year, about $6.7 million in state aid through December. And we anticipate that through April, we'll probably have about $5.4 million that will be withheld. And that will be, once we submit the audit to DESE, that will start to flow in May. So all those funds will be recovered. And fortunately, there has been no impact on our operations due to that hold on our state aid. So fortunately, the audit is now finally complete, and all of you should have copies of the documents. Of course, there's our ACFR, or our annual comprehensive financial report. This will be posted on the website after it is approved by the board, which I hope to have that this evening, along with all of our other financial reports, including probably up to 10 years of ACFRs, prior to this one. You should also have a copy of the compliance report. And if anybody ever needs additional copies, we've also got those. You also probably have an electronic copy. And I think today we provided a copy of the viewpoints, which is really a summary of the audit that the auditor, Reuben Brown, would typically give just an overview of what has happened during the year. And again, this is for fiscal year 2023. They actually kind of walk you through the requirements of the audit, some of the, the findings that they had based on the review, all the reviews that have happened, the recommendations. They would go through those recommendations as well. So, yes, we definitely had some internal control, material weaknesses, and significant deficiencies that were identified on our financial statements or our ACFR and with our major federal funds. We have developed plans to work on and address these going forward. So I didn't necessarily plan to go through a lot of detail, but if there's any specific questions, I can kind of give you a high level idea of what some of those weaknesses and deficiencies were. A lot of it was based on delayed monthly reconciliations, which caused a lot of multiple adjustments that had to be done. As you know, we went through a major ERP upgrade July 1 of 2023, which didn't help with those reconciliations. And the city of St. Louis also went through an upgrade of their system as well, which changed a lot of the reporting that they provided to us because we receive a lot of our revenue from the city of St. Louis as far as our property taxes, which is the largest source of our funding. So they were not able to provide the level of detail that they had in the past, so there was a lot of back and forth. So a lot of the adjustments were based on that. Additionally, there were lots of journal entries and adjustments and reclassifications that had to be done to schedules and grants and debt transactions. And also with our capital assets, multiple reviews and reconciliation adjustments that had to be made. And probably the most significant finding, if you will, was the lack of a biannual physical inventory that was not completed for fiscal year 2023 for a subset of our grants. And as you know, we have so many different assets that we have in the district. And it's not just capital assets, but also with iPads. And we're on a one-to-one with our students. And, it's a lot. So that is actually a repeat finding, a lack of a completion of the biannual inventory. So that's just kind of a high-level summary. Certainly, the team would be willing to go into more detail if anyone is interested, particularly at a work session in an environment where I have more of my team with me. But if there's any questions, I'd certainly be happy to try to address them right now.
Is the plan, Chief Banks, for the audit committee to get together again and review these? Because I know they saw some preliminary things. I know they've all received it, but they haven't met. And it seems like generally they will have met, and then the audit committee as well as the auditors will present. Would the plan be at a future work session or whatever to have them come to get a little more in-depth in these?
Well, that's really kind of up to the board and the audit committee. I have been in contact with the audit committee chair, and he is certainly trying to schedule a meeting with the auditor to determine really what is the best path forward. I know that Dr. Scarlett also has some plans as far as meeting on a regular basis with Reuben Brown. So some of those are still in process. I will say that there is no requirement for the audit committee to, I guess, approve this. So I'm certainly anticipating and looking forward to the board approving the documents tonight. There is a consent agenda item so that we can go ahead and get this information uploaded to DESE and start to receive our revenue. But we have all of our action plans that are included in the documents that you have, and I'm sure there'll be more information to come.
And as a member of the audit committee, I did speak to Mr. G, and he didn't have any objection to us approving it tonight as well. So that gave me some comfort. In terms of the staffing issues, and I know this is an ongoing concern, is there anything that we can do to help in terms of, I know we've discussed compensation struggles in terms of competitiveness. How do you see next year going in terms of staffing, and if it's not full-time staff, is there a way to sort of supplement with contracting outside firms to help you with that?
Yeah, thank you for that. And right now we've been contracting some support staff through Robert Half that really has a good, we have a good relationship with receiving some of those resources that we need. I believe we have 3 contracted accountants right now. They really help to support the team over the last several months. You know, unfortunately, as I said, you know, the resources are in high demand, and I'm not overly optimistic, although with some of the compensation increases that we look forward to for the next year, I'm hoping that will have an impact, but we'll have to continue on and keep working on it.
And just so you can reiterate, now I lost my page because I was looking for the revenue, but it's all kind of wonky because of ESSER funds. But in terms of the state aid, it looks like it's generally about 10% of all of our revenue.
And not even that high. I would say it's probably closer to maybe 7%, or you know, maybe less now with all of these ESSER funds. But unfortunately, our state aid has dwindled quite a bit, you know, just the way that the state funds us in combination with the charter schools.
And I didn't find, I always look for the tax and TIF. I didn't find that quickly, but I'm sure we'll have further discussions on that report. But I just want to reiterate, so in terms of that delay in getting state aid, it has not affected operations at all.
Correct.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief Banks.
Okay, well, I think I will move right into the third quarter financial update. This period covers January through March 2024, along with some year-to-date financials. And our financial goals are aligned with our strategic values, and we'll make sure that they do so in a sustainable way to support our student goals. The agenda includes updates on ESSER 3 and the third quarter year-to-date results for revenues by source and expenditures by category, and a financial outlook. And I'll take any questions after that. So regarding ESSER 3, we have spent nearly 75% of our total allocation, or $75 million, through March of 2024. You can see the categories at the bottom of the screen. Of course, these haven't changed much. The highest spend categories include unfinished learning, which is really an academic area, which of course you would hope that's where a lot of the spend is, along with facilities and retention incentives. And as you recall, the unfinished learning was the only mandatory category with ESSER 3 requiring 20% of the spend, and we have basically met that. Our third quarter revenue is still primarily GOB with property and sales taxes and transportation. Of course, we don't see any of our other state aid. There are some special education high need funds, plus some food service reimbursements and some limited federal reimbursements. A summary of expenditures are listed by category for the quarter. This does not include payroll, legal, or utility expenditures. In this quarter, I've really listed them in three main DESI categories with subcategories. And these expenditures include all funds, and again, this is why we need a healthy fund balance, because many of these purchases we won't receive reimbursement sometimes for several months. So purchase services is the first category, and with 5 subcategories, and each subcategory includes the type of expenditure and or the vendors paid. So for example, instructional, pupil, and staff service subcategories include the type of expenditures, whereas communications, data processing, tech repairs, and maintenance subcategories include the vendors that were paid. Supplies and materials is the second category with subcategories of general, instructional, operational, and technology supplies, and technology hardware less than $1,000. And one of the ERP or our system issues that we contend with is this category of supplies and materials probably, it really just, the system timed out after the report got up to 500 pages of supplies and materials for the third quarter. So there's just not a real easy way that we have to really summarize this information, and it's really just a much too manual of an effort. So we hope to address that in the coming months. Capital outlay is the third category, which is really our higher value items that are typically depreciated versus expensed, and they include furniture and technology over $5,000, software over $5,000, building and other improvements. So we received about $181 million of revenue in the third quarter for a year-to-date total of 74% of the revenue budget through March. And you can see at the bottom of the screen, it's just a picture of what it's showing up top in the chart. And clearly you can see how our local revenue, that's really our bread and butter, and that's where the majority of our property and sales taxes are. Now with our federal funds, those are our title funds and our ESSER funds and some others, and you can see that we're only at just about 30%. Those are the funds that we typically are waiting for reimbursements. And some of those reimbursements we will not see probably for months. We've already spent those dollars that we've paid for some items, but the reimbursements won't come for quite some time. We spent about $122.6 million in the third quarter for a year-to-date total of about 57% of the expenditure budget through March. And you can see the various categories and the percent of budget spend, with salaries leading the charge. So again, we are in a very strong financial position right now. That's basically what we just reviewed. And in the ACFR, you'll see that our fund balance will increase in our general operating budget by about $34 million. So we're at an unrestricted fund balance of about 46%. We know that we have some strategic planning and budgeting to do with some upcoming higher administrative costs and some likely planned deficit spending. And we've talked about these cliffs that are coming, and that's basically the ESSER funds that are ending. And we know we've done a lot of things with ESSER that a lot of departments and schools would like to continue, so we have to really determine what are we going to continue and what kind of adjustments we need to make. And of course, there's always the legislation that may impact our funding at some point, and it's pretty much the same ones that come back time and time again. One thing I will note is that as we listen to, various webinars and seminars, it appears as though the consensus is that the state budget moving forward is going to be fairly flat. So that will certainly have an impact on the district. So we'll have to be very strategic as we're budgeting going forward. Any questions?
I wanted to ask about the ESSER projects and the $30 million going forward. So I'm looking at this slide, and it talks about, $3.8 million for student backpack, school supplies, and summer school transportation. $21.6 million for before and after school care, instructional resources, textbooks, and AICs. And then there's also facilities on there for $23 million, which we know that's sort of a one-time fee. Technology repairs. Does the technology repairs include the student repair for the student technology repairs?
Typically not. I would have to actually go into the file to see what's actually included in there, but I just can't recall offhand what those technology repairs are. I know that one of the things that was on the list for technology was, the Kronos upgrade for sure, and then for MyTel, which had to do with some security type items. So I think the technology repairs is just a very small piece.
And in terms of the one-to-one technology, did we use ESSER funds for those, or was that GOB?
That's a good question. I'm thinking that was, I don't know, I don't want to say offhand, but I do believe that was several years ago, and that we're now at a space where we need to consider replacing those items, and I believe we may have put in a purchase, and I think it may have been with ESSER dollars for the replacement. So I will have to check and see about those original ones.
So I guess before I'll withdraw what my question was going to be, and I guess just ask when's the deadline to make these decisions for what we have ESSER money to continue for next school year, and then what are we going to prioritize going forward that we've used ESSER money, and where are we going to find the money for that?
Yeah, well, we're having some of those very difficult conversations right now at the cabinet level. As you know, typically we would have had our 2025 budget probably prepared, but we're going through many of those conversations right now. And that's why I said some strategic deficit spending for a short period of time is okay, but we certainly don't want to live in that space. So we're making sure that all of the staff, as we have already distributed, like their 25 workbooks to identify what people are requesting. And I know that Dr. Scarlett is having some conversations. So We do anticipate that we will present the 2025 budget at the May meeting, so all of those decisions will have been made by that time.
Okay.
Can you talk more about the higher administrative costs?
Yes. So the higher administrative cost is basically your directors and above. So I know that there are, well, obviously with the salary increases, when you have the higher paid staff, you anticipate you're going to have some higher costs there, especially when you're doing things on a percentage basis. And basically, we use the compensation study that was done, externally, and some of those recommendations. So we're really looking at that right now to make sure that as additional requests are being made by departments and schools, that we can really justify them. But we certainly anticipate a higher percentage in administrative costs.
Any other questions for Chief Banks? Thank you, Chief Banks. Dr. Scarlett. Reading updates.
Thank you.
Is that you, Dr. Vorshak?
So good evening, President Cousins, members of the board, Superintendent Scarlett. Tonight I'm especially excited about the reading update. You'll hear from students, staff, principals, and how the work that we've been doing has really impacted student learning. So just before I get started, I would like for all of the members of the Reading and Writing Initiative to please stand, staff, students, family. You'll get to meet Dr. Jones in a minute. Okay. So tonight we will focus our attention on third grade reading, and of course with our SLPS strategic values, we have 6. We're going to focus on highly effective educators and leaders, authentic family and community partnerships, equitable and multiple sources of data, and of course, joyful and engaged learners. So we started our Literacy for the Lou on January 27th. How can we forget? Saturday, January 27th. And from there, we've had our 314/Pi Day sprint. We've had our Passport Challenge. And then we're going to be moving into our 1838 Challenge. Our 314 Pi Day Challenge, our students were so excited. I'm going to ask if Jasmine can share with us what she did for our 314.
For 314 Day, I read for 30 minutes each day. That also helped me become a better reader because I was excited to read for the prizes.
Okay. And now we have our Passport Challenge that is going on. You will see that some of our students already are wearing their shirts for the Passport Challenge, which is going to end on May 9th. It started on March 14th, the same day that the other challenge ended, and it's going to last until May 9th. Then we have our 1838 challenge that is going to take place. We are almost to a point where we can finalize our location for the sneaker ball that is going to happen. So our reading incentives, we have a literacy swag bag for pre-K through 5. We have movie tickets for grades 6 through 12. And students who have read over 150 minutes per week, March 14th through April 11th, will be rewarded with a special Literacy for the Lou t-shirt, as you can see. And here are just some photos from our 314 day. I'm going to ask Principal Bonner if she would come and share what her students said to her for 314 day.
On 314 day, we had the biggest pep rally ever. Our scholars were extremely excited about the pep rally, as elementary school scholars don't normally get a pep rally. And it was all focused on literacy, and the scholars were overly excited. They could not wait until they could identify what the next reading challenge would be so that they could meet or exceed it. And I'm proud to say that all of our scholars got their certificates on 314 day because they met that 314 challenge of reading at least 314 minutes.
I am going to have Dr. Brown join us for the library update, and then we'll talk about our learning labs.
Good afternoon, President Cousins, Vice President Davis, school board members, and Dr. Scarlett. I'm super excited to be here before you for the first time, providing a brief update on our classroom libraries. Continuing on that theme of prioritizing literacy, you'll see here the rationale for our classroom libraries and a few bullets about the proposed plan. I'll say that in the forthcoming months will be before you. We are anticipating bringing a presentation to you that highlights some of the logic model, our implementation plan, and our return on investment on classroom libraries, so that they intentionally and strategically support literacy and not just become a fixture in our classrooms. So we'll share more with you in the forthcoming months, but we just wanted to provide this update and highlight that all of our classrooms will receive these books in 2024. They will be culturally diverse, curated according to grade level to support independent reading as well as small group instruction. And we will also provide educator professional development that supports understanding and using these reading libraries or these literacy libraries to support all of the goals that I mentioned. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Dr. Borsche.
Dr. Brown,
Yes,
before you step away, would you mind just introducing yourself, what your title is, and where you've come from?
Sure. I am Dr. Lucretia Brown. I am serving the community in the school system as the Chief Academic Officer.
And where are you from?
I am coming to you from Prince William County Public Schools, where we served close to 90,000 students, 16,000 employees, a little more than 7,000 teachers.
Thank you. Welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So just an update on our learning labs. Our learning labs are focusing on our student moves. And you'll see here that in the fall, we had 4 schools that had originally participated in our learning labs. With those 4 schools, each of those schools received 5 learning lab visits. The focus on the visits, was 3rd grade in this particular instance. It included feedback to teachers. It included an opportunity for principals to share feedback with the teachers immediately after the walkthrough, the learning lab. In the winter, we added 9 more schools, and you will be able to see that. You'll see 30%, or the fall cohort, there was 29% in the low section, Then we had in the winter, when we added schools, there was 40%. Ultimately, what we want you to notice is that with the learning labs, we had 11% more growth with the typical and high of the schools that received more learning lab visits with a focus on student moves. Okay, our reading and writing initiative, that has been the highlight of a lot of our time together as network superintendent, our AICs, and our principals who have participated in this journey. There is a video that is supposed to show, and then after the video, I'm going to have our students as well as our principals share some moments.
Hello, how are you all, Jefferson Eagles? Are you all excited about Literacy for the Lou? Literacy for the Lou is such an exciting initiative. You know why? Because it's all it is just showing us how much you all already love reading, how much your families love reading, and how much you all love books. Do you know that the reason why I'm a superintendent is because of my love for reading? That's why I've been able to succeed in so many different ways. So I want you all to keep reading, keep logging your reading, keep staying encouraged, keep encouraging each other around your reading, make sure you're celebrating each other. Teachers, families, thank you so much for every single thing that you're doing to help support your students in their educational lives. And let's give a hand to Dr. Bonner, our wonderful principal.
There's another video. There we go.
What do you guys think? What does he think about point of view or the cherry racer?
It's very dangerous on the list.
He said it was exciting, right? It is exciting.
When you started about
The member look up. That was one thing. They didn't believe in challenges communities. It was a belief that what?
In January, I thought I was in my old way of teaching, but now as a collective using the reading and writing initiative, I've learned that to get out of my way a little bit more and start letting the children, giving them more of a voice and giving them more of control.
When we first started the Reading Writing Initiative, they would only write like 2 sentences. Now I'm getting them to write the whole page, breaking it down like sentence by sentence. What was the topic of the book? What was the details? They can go in the text, they can pull it out. They're eager to share their answers. They're just excited about the learning now.
It's been amazing. I've learned a lot of tools that I can use in my teacher bag, some strategic moves that I can use throughout the classroom. Especially in those situations where you're not sure where to reel yourself in or, let the students take over. So I'm learning a lot about when to do that and when to, let the kids be the kids and let them do the learning, let them lead the learning.
Because of the Reading Writing Initiative, I see growth within myself when it comes to planning, implementation, self-assessing myself, reflecting for me, and then it leads to me internalizing more, and then that turns into more engagement for my kids, more meaningful lesson for my students. So not only growth within myself, but with my kids is made a big difference.
Okay. So we're going to start up here with Dot. 1, 2, 3.
The Romans also built roads and aqueducts. The roads brought people from all around the
being in a smaller school, I'm the only third grade teacher. I'm the only one teaching these resources, only one teaching third grade. So when I'm bouncing ideas off of other staff members, they may have some type of insight to my students and the students we teach here specifically at Merrimack, but they don't have the insight that I have when I'm working with Mr. Mitchell at Ashland, because he's teaching the same resources, the same stories, the same text. So when we're collaborating and planning together, he's able to bring a new perspective because he's doing the same work.
They've been really excited. At first they were, not quite sure what to do and, a little nervous, but they've come out of their shell as much as I've come out of my shell. So as confident as I've gotten, they've gotten more confident as well. So that's the biggest change that I've seen.
I'm going to ask Principal Bodie to come and share some of her experiences being a part of this initiative. Can you share where you're from?
Good evening, board members. My name is Paula Bodie. I'm the principal at Ashland Elementary School. Since joining the Reading and Writing Initiative, we've noticed a multitude of changes. We had to change a staff member. Was glad to get Mr. Mitchell back into the building. Since he has returned, students who could not engage, who couldn't access reading, who were afraid to lift their voices, now raise their hands. They have lots of things to say. They research on their own. They are contributing not only in the classroom but to the entire school building. So this initiative has changed the whole way that we look at doing the work. Because my first time in, we were doing core reading, so core reading became a thing in the whole school. I took it back. The entire building does core reading together. We've just seen all of the movement. It's been a powerful piece of growth in a very short period of time, so it's been a win-win across the building.
Can I have Dr. Jones come up here and share with us? Come on. What do you have to share?
Good evening. My name is Anit Jones, and I'm a third grade student at Peabody Elementary. I'm here to share some reflections about learning experiences. This year, we learned about lots of influential individuals and how they changed our community. Recently, we learned about Milton Hershey.
Keep going.
So, Milton Hershey is a person who did a lot of things to help the community and bring sweetness into this world. He made the first Hershey bar and made 2 avenues, and he made caramels and chocolates. Then he quit making caramels and just made chocolates, because that was a big decision to make.
Give him some Hershey's.
Okay.
He has something for you. This is one of the stories that they learned about. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Dr. Jones, is your mom here? Dad, is Dad here? Dad, can you come up, please? Dad, can you tell us how do you feel about your experience regarding your son and his feelings in regards to the reading program and just your overall feelings with the district, with the program as a whole.
Wow. When he talks, the energy in his voice make people listen. And he scuffled at first when he first started pre-K. We've been with Peabody Elementary throughout the whole ride, and wow, wow.
Thank you. Is the principal at Peabody here? Can you stand, please? The principal, can all the principals please stand? So I know the principal, I know before us, and I'm gonna try to get it right. Stay standing. The principals, I have the principals at Peabody, the principals of Jefferson, the principal of Columbia, the principal of Ashland, and I know my principal of Walbridge. First of all, I want to commend you all because I know this was a challenge to transition into doing something like this. This is new territory for you all. But at the same time, I want to recognize the teachers. Can the teachers of all the schools stand as well?
We have the coaches here as well.
I'm sorry.
We have the coaches here as well.
As well as the reading coaches. The reading coaches, all my educators. AICs, I'm sorry, AICs. I want to publicly commend you all because we had a lot of resistance. And we had a lot of questions about what was not happening in St. Louis Public Schools. And to see what I was able to see right now is what I know SLPS can do. And we can't do it without you. So thank you so much for the hard work that you all are doing, and to see you on the video and to see the children enjoying, and what I saw that dad, like, this is why we're here. This is my why. So thank you so much for what you're doing, and to be here tonight, knowing you have to turn around and get here tomorrow morning. Thank you. I want to publicly thank you for your commitment to what you're doing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Dr. Borshay, thank you for your vision and you all understanding what we meant and making sure people understand how it is important for all kids to read, and to hear Dad say how he started and where he is in his commitment to Peabody. Absolutely. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Can you ask her what she's reading?
What are you reading?
I'm reading the name of the book I was reading is called The Best Chef.
And what's your name, young lady?
My name is Jaslyn Ho.
And what school do you attend?
Jefferson Elementary.
Thank you. I'm sorry, we're supposed to ask another question. What is it about?
The book that I read was about these 4 kids. They were having a cook-off because they were trying to see whose food was the best.
So I take it you want to cook.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Is there any other questions from the board? Any comments from the board? Any?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Borshay, and your team.
Okay. Next, we'll have our calendar update. Dr. Claire Crapo.
All right, good evening, everyone. It's hard to follow that. It's hard to follow chocolate. I hope you guys save some for me. But exciting presentation, so we'll wrap it up quickly with just a very brief and final update around our proposed calendars for 2024-25 and 25-26. Tonight we'll be sharing just a final update, the final feedback that we received from our families. I really want to thank our continuing partnership with Local 420 as we reviewed the calendars. So as always, just want to ground us in our strategic values. I think you saw them in action here in our last presentation. And that was really what we were thinking about when we created the calendar. How do we maximize days so we can support student learning and teacher development? So just as a reminder, just for the parameters that we worked within when we created the calendar, I shared this last time, but I think it's important just to remind the community and the board that there are just several parameters that we have to work within. So one, around the minimum numbers of instruction, plus the 36 make-up weather days. Our teachers are contracted to work for 210 work days. And you'll hear me mention this a little bit at the end when we talk about next steps, but there is state statute that discusses that school has to begin no earlier than 14 calendar days prior to the first Monday in September. So that does issue some issues for us if we want to start a little bit earlier. So wrapping up with our feedback, last time I presented, I think we had around 100 respondents. We kept it open for 2 full weeks. So we had 148 respondents. As I shared last week, or 2 weeks ago, the biggest concern was around the date to return to school on Friday, January the 3rd. But the aspects appreciated the most were the holiday breaks, specifically around Thanksgiving. And so that's what makes this, it's always hard to do a calendar because we want to balance all of the needs and desires of our community members and our teachers, but Thanksgiving week continues to be a very popular week off that people have, and it's really valued by our staff members, and again, that's the feedback we got from Local 420. So we did maintain the calendar as is, based on the feedback that we received, and also, like I said, based on the parameters that we have. So in terms of recommendations and next steps, it is up for a vote. It's on your consent agenda this evening to approve both calendars. And I think one of the things that when we talked with Local 420, that they asked that I raise, and I agree with this, is that we just continue to have conversations around a possible provision in 25-26 for SLPS to be granted permission to start the school year earlier. It just allows for us to then build in professional development opportunities throughout the school year. So Mr. Davis, I'm not sure if that could be part of what we do with the legislative committee. And I know it's something we've talked about before, and it just continues to come up.
There have been provisions introduced. There's been bills introduced for basically Kansas City and St. Louis, any school district that has a charter school, to be able to waive that, because charter schools are not held to that same provision. They can start earlier. So it has been introduced. We can certainly push it in the future.
Okay, thank you. So with that, I will take any, like I said, it was a brief presentation just to wrap things up with the board. Any questions at this time?
Is there any questions for Dr. Crapo?
Okay, thank you.
Next, we'll have Dr. Josh Henning for School Links. Or is that Dr. Henning? Who is that? It is you? Okay, all right. You looked at me like it wasn't you, Dr. Henning. Okay.
There it is. Hello. Good evening, board. Good evening, superintendent. Nice to see you all. I'm not sure if the presentation is queued up for tonight. Oh, there it is. Wonderful. Okay. So we can go ahead and click to the next slide. Oh, I've got the clicker. I got it. So School Links, basically what we're doing is we're looking at a college and career platform that is from grades 6 to 12, and this is something that probably should have happened about 10 years ago. Okay, so I'm going to kind of move through this quickly. I think you have the slides in front of you, but let's go ahead and jump through. So it aligns with our strategic values, of course, college and career readiness, our students graduating, moving on either into college, 2-year, 4-year, or into the workforce. But it also aligns with this notion of and this value of equitable and multiple sources of data. So this is a really key piece where we want our students and families to have access to their own data. Right now, it's something that we kind of house, but our students don't have access to their own data, and that's something that this platform would provide for them. All right, moving along. So these are our student success goals. So if we want our students to be college and career ready, we don't start their senior year. We actually have to start way before that. And so part of what this does is this provides that opportunity for our students from grades 6 through 12 to have a platform for that. Okay, and then here's just our portrait of a graduate, our competencies, and the alignment there. All right, so the rationale for School Links. St. Louis Public Schools currently does not have a CCR platform. Like I said, most school districts probably picked these up somewhere between 10 to 12 years ago. So we're behind in that. Why is that important? If we want our students to have access to their transcripts, to provide their transcripts to other places, let me just pause there for a moment. Right now, if our alumni want to apply to a college, they have to go back in person to their high school, fill out a paper form, submit that form, and then that transcript is sent via mail with a stamp to the college or university, right? And we kind of have to laugh or we would cry because it's just like, okay, how on earth are we at this point? So that in and of itself is such a profound thing for our students when we talk about equity and access. But then you start throwing in the things like you can apply for scholarships. You can apply for financial aid. Right there, students can pull out their phones and complete these things using this platform, which really gives them, it's not an advantage, it just puts them on the same playing field that other students are on at this point. So putting School Links in place is going to help foster a culture of post-secondary excellence for our students. And again, we're not trying to say let's just do it for juniors and seniors. We need them to understand how to utilize these tools starting in middle school. So when they're deciding what do I want to do in high school, what career do I want to choose, what college, what's my trajectory for life? I know that it sounds like I'm overstating it, but this really is an exciting tool that will help them do that. Okay, I apologize. This slide came out a lot smaller than I thought it would be. I can't even read it. But basically what this slide says is it shows our graduation rate, and the blue line is us compared to the state of Missouri. And why? There's a lot of reasons why our graduation rate is lower. But part of our rationale for School Links is saying by students engaging in selecting their courses, right? And not just by doing it by saying, oh, I get to set up a meeting one time with my counselor, but a consistent conversation digitally with parents being able to say, well, what courses are you taking next year as a sophomore? Oh, I'm taking AP Art. I'm taking science. I'm taking algebra, geometry. Those conversations help our students to understand this is a pathway towards their post-secondary success. So our hope and what we're looking is saying, utilizing this for School Links will help to impact our graduation rate. Another data point is our 180-day graduate follow-up. So where do our students go? Where do they actually end up? So the state of Missouri says we have to check after 180 days and give a report on every single graduate. And so what we're saying is we're going to use that also as an indicator to measure how successful is School Links for our students. Is it actually helping them to get into colleges, to find careers, and pursue some of these other post-secondary opportunities? All right, so what is School Links? I've talked kind of all around the issue, but here's what it is. So it's a modern college and career readiness platform designed to be student-centered, high-interest, user-friendly. And these are some of the things that they will do. They get to course plan. So every single semester, they get to ask, can I take this course? What about that course? Our entire course catalog will be uploaded into School Links. So students and parents both can see. No longer will that be an internal facing document. That'll be something that not only can parents look through and students, but they can actually make decisions on what classes do I want to take. They can also look at careers in St. Louis, and it'll tell them, here are the types of classes you need to take. Here's the amount of money you can make. Here are opportunities if you're a graduate. And then once they graduate, and this is really one of the really exciting features about this, once they graduate, they get access to this platform for the rest of their lives. So right now, if I asked you, how do we communicate with our alumni? Most of us would say, well, you know, it might be the Vashon alumni, it might be the Sumner alumni, it might be, you know, and we would look and say, well, yeah, class of this or class of that. What School Links gives us the ability to do is have a platform where we can reach all of our alumni. So when we say we're going to have a literacy initiative, we're going to have a 5K, we're going to have, this gives us that platform where we can keep that connection. Or we need you to come back and read to our students. Come do it, and here's how you're going to do it. So this gives us that platform. It also gives our alumni the opportunity that if they're, like, some of our kids, they go off to college and they say, you know what, I did 2 years of college and it's just not working out for whatever reason. They come back home and they just don't have a connection. Lots of times, I remember being a principal, kids would come back to the high school and they would say, can I just talk to you for a minute? I need to, what do I do? Where do I go? What are some resources? And our principals and counselors are doing their best to guide them in that. This platform gives us the opportunity. We can say, look, come on, log in. Let's start looking at some jobs. You can apply. You need to send your transcript? Go ahead. Click. Boom. You're using Parchment. That's the platform that they use. And the transcript goes out. You need to, look at what's available in another city. You can look in other cities all over the country and figure out what's the job market out there. So just some really exciting things for our alumni that we just don't currently have in place, but this could be the platform to kind of springboard that. So middle school students, and I'll start moving a little more quickly here. I know I'm excited about this, but it helps them to manage their career interests, helps them to complete their ICAPs, their individual career and academic plans. Now this won't be something that is simply, hey, we need you to complete this so we can turn it into the state and get these points. Now with this platform, it provides lessons. It provides 6th graders, 7th graders with the opportunity to think about what kind of scholarships do I want to pursue? What kind of careers do I want to pursue? And that can help them to actually develop an individual career and academic plan that is meaningful. Okay, high school students, I've kind of already talked about that. The main push here would be the counselors. This would be through the CCR department and our staff to support this, but the counselors connecting with students. But it's not just that. It's also our career and technical ed students. It's also those students who are engaged in internships. This gives us a way to track those internships, to potentially help support placing students in internships that they're interested in. So there's lots of options with this as well. I talked about the alumni. I got a little excited, jumped ahead, so we can skip that slide. So these are some of the KPIs, key performance indicators that we're looking at. So summative, kind of at the end of the year, what's the graduation rate, the 180-day follow-up, and then formative things that go on throughout the school year, the utilization rate, and then updates to their ICAPs. There are other things that we can develop as we get input from stakeholders, but these are some of those base KPIs we're looking at. Next steps, so what we're asking you to do, it's actually on the agenda tonight. We're asking you to approve this. I think it's the first one on the agenda. If it is approved, then 2024 graduating seniors will be enrolled first. So we have this on the agenda to start tomorrow. So if it passes, we will start activation tomorrow. And with the small window we have, we would focus first on those seniors so they would have access primarily, and then we would look at implementation from there on out. Whew, that was a lot. Any questions?
Any questions for Dr. Henney? Board Member White, Sadie.
Thank you so much. I really do want to say thank you for bringing this forward. Like you said, it's probably been long overdue. And that the focus starts on 6th grade, I think is incredibly important. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and thank you. Definitely appreciate that and think that's a big deal. Just a quick question, SchoolLink sounds amazing. Was there any comparison to other platforms? And how did you ultimately decide on SchoolLinks?
Yeah, there were. I don't want to put any specific other platforms out there by name, but the founder of SchoolLinks actually utilized, when she founded this a number of years ago, she came through high school using a different platform and just was not happy with it because it wasn't user friendly. It wasn't something where she continued to use it once she graduated, and she actually changed her mind on some things and went a different direction, and that's actually how she developed this. But we did. We met with principals. We also met with some teachers and counselors. We had a little bit of student input on it as well. Yeah. Yep.
I love how excited you are about this. I'm sorry, it's been a hard day. So we have the whole course catalog uploaded, but our schools don't all offer the same things, and that feels unequitable. I don't know if that's a question. Are we going to address it? So that's thought one. And then thought two is, I know that it's good for students to have a vision of their future and know that they can have a great one. But I don't know, when I was in school, they were saying people change their majors like 7 times. Is there, and I'm from the humanities, and with STEM being so good, but we still need people to know history and, English and ethics. Is that kind of part of it, that you're like, you could do this, you can also do this, like you don't have to decide in 6th grade that you're going to be a doctor and that you have to do this and that you have to get to CSMB so you can get into the fanciest school. Is that something that's been considered?
Yes. So let me start with the first item that you brought up. So you're kind of preceding some things that Dr. Scarlett has been working on, but and calling us to work on as a district. So looking at kind of doing a landscape of advanced credit and advanced coursework, and who has those opportunities, and what does that look like, and what are the demographic breakdowns, and by school, and some of that work is being done under Dr. Scarlett's leadership right now. So there's that piece. The second piece, I said I was never going to leave the classroom. I had that conversation in my 10th year of teaching when somebody tried to get me into a leadership position. And my path has gone all over the place. So I think we have to, the future of education, I'm not sure if I'm answering your question correctly, but I think the future of education has to be agile, and we have to be able to allow students and families to shift and explore. And that's what's going to make us a more attractive option than other places. Yeah.
2 quick questions, Dr. Henning. Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for all the hard work that you put in. I really appreciate you. My first question would be the school email that every student has here in SLPS. How long will they be allowed to keep their email after they graduate?
That's a good question. That might be more for our technology department in terms of the actual email accounts. I don't know if I could speak to that. I'm not sure how long they stay open. I think the the more maybe fundamental question is how many people would check them, right? I mean, I graduated from UMSL. I don't check my UMSL emails or my, I just don't think that's necessarily a mindset. But I think with something like this, where it's connected to your transcripts and your career choices and that type of stuff, I think we could incorporate that in, and so maybe there would be better continuation of those emails. But I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't know how long they can check them. Yeah.
My second question is financial, because a lot of students, when they graduate, I remember when my children were SLPS students, and at least I'd say out of the 10 that might go, 6 had to bail out because of monies. Now, with SchoolLink, will it also have opportunities to help with monies when they start school and while they're in school, because so many of them have issues with money?
Yes, absolutely, and that's part of the financial aid piece. So students are able to see like scholarship opportunities and other financial aid opportunities. Again, it's right there. It's not that they have to sit down and research it. This is stuff that comes right through the platform that is specifically for them, and it's tailored to be basically for where the student is at. So it's not going to give them the option to apply for scholarships all the way in California if they're here in Missouri.
It says alumni on here as well. So if a student, just say for instance, they were in Mr. Bean's program,
right,
and they hadn't quite, gone through the graduation process or what have you, are they still eligible? And if they are, up until what age will they qualify?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. That is up to us. And as far as I'm concerned, once an SLPS student's in any capacity, always an SLPS student. So there's no reason, if a student comes here between 6th to 12th grade and they utilize the platform, why would we not allow them to continue to use it?
The other question is, are there phone numbers available? I know we have the website and that kind of thing, and is it on Facebook, social media, or anything like that?
Phone numbers for, I didn't understand.
Well, I know SchoolLink is it's a multimedia kind of thing, but
right.
But are there numbers that they can call directly and speak to someone? Because some kids, they'd rather talk.
Yeah. Those would still be us. We're still here. So no, we still expect them that if a student is having difficulties or they need to navigate it, we take pride in our counselors. Our counselors are phenomenal. Any kid, any alumni that needs to come back to get some guidance and support, they never turn them away. So they always know they have a home with us.
So when the student graduate comes across the stage, or even before, they're going to receive a card or information that they can have on their person to contact a certain person. Is it just the person at their school, the counselor at the school? Will it be someone at 801 as well?
Yep. Yeah, good question. At 801 as well. So we actually, this next Friday, anyone who's available, we're going to be stuffing folders for all of the graduates, the over 1,000 graduates. So you're welcome to join us for a stuffing party. But that's exactly what we do, Board Member Jones, is we give them something, and a lot of those are actually like QR codes and digital resources, because kids these days, it's this. But we send them off, and then we also have over the summertime the CCR Center. We call it the Summer Melt Center, because sometimes we have students who they haven't planned. They don't know what they want to do, and all of a sudden they say, I want to go to college. And so we have counselors that actually work over the summer down here, and all the counselors put out to the graduates, if you need help, come here, we'll help you get set up.
Okay, my last question is about housing.
Yes, ma'am.
Because a lot of people think once a child turns 18 and they graduate, you're on your own. And a lot of our students are finding themselves out just lost. So on SchoolLink, I know it's about education, but if they don't have any place to stay, then will there be something on there to help assist them with that kind of information as well?
That's a good question. I don't know. And that might be something that we could ask them to maybe connect with Dr. Deidre Thomas Murray, and maybe we could incorporate that in, even if it's not a part of their software. Maybe that's something that we can incorporate in, but that's a great question. Yeah.
As quick as I can. So this will start with the class of 2024. Is there ever going to be an opportunity to include like the class of 2023, or going as far back as Mr. Hike's year, which the transcript is probably on literal parchment, but 1981 Bulldogs?
That's a good question. I would imagine as we start looking at some of our moving from our current student information system, that might fall a little bit better into those conversations, and I'm sure Chief Barrow and his team are investigating, those for those folks. I think if there is a way for us to do it, that would be great to incorporate some of those. So I'll look into that as well.
Yeah, my next question was going to be about SIS, but I think you answered it in not answering it, so thanks.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Dr. Henney.
Thank you.
We're going to move to the consent agenda. Is there any questions for the consent agenda?
I just want to say I like the new arrangement. These are built out by departments.
Is there any questions regarding the consent agenda? Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda, item 409, 2401 through 0409, 24, 22.
Second.
Any discussions? Ms. Henry?
Mr. Hikes?
Yes.
Ms. Weiss?
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Cousins?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Board members report. Ms. Jones?
I just want to say thank you so much to Mason Elementary for the wonderful performance that they put on the other day at the Grandel Theater. I think we had over 400, and Matt, do you recall the number 400?
I think it was like over 425 or so, I think. That
Yeah,
Dr. Frank
people that parents and students and family, they all came out strong. And it's just wonderful, and the feeling was overwhelming. I was there as a grandparent, of course, I'm gonna say that. But just to see all the parents and the students on stage, and it was just such a wonderful event, and I just hope to see more of our students perform, or whatever their talent might be, and that parents and the community come out and support our children, because I think it makes such a difference in their lives when they see everybody come out and support them, no matter what the situation might be. They just want to be loved, and they want to be appreciated. And I just want to thank the staff and the students and the family of Mason at this time.
Thank you, Secretary Jones. I want to recognize the coaches of Clyde C. Miller track team. I had the opportunity to go to the track meet at John Burroughs School, and to see the passion and commitment that the coaches have with the students. The students did an excellent job. Looking at the students run, just looking at the students run, I'm just trying to understand how they did that. But the freshmen, the young ladies really put in some work. They really came in second and first in their heats. And looking at the students really put in a lot of work on their shot puts. Some of them were doing it for the first time, but how the coaches was working with the students and how they were just working as a team and showing good sportsmanship, you can tell it really came from the work that the coaches were really putting in. And they had really put in the work all just free willing, wanting to do it. A lot of them are not really getting paid that much to do that, to put the extra time. So I wanted to definitely recommend and recognize them for the hard work that they actually put into working with those kids. And it was extremely cold outside that day. Board Member Tracy, is your mic on?
Oh, I like it when you say hikes. No,
I'm sorry, Board Member Heiss.
I know I beat on this horse a little bit, but we have to let let the community know how important this is. Last week they had their second series of backpacks full of cash. And once again, yes, it's about charter schools, of how when charter schools come into fruition, they take money from the public schools so they can fund their schools. And now, see, this is not just happening in the St. Louis area. It happens in Kansas City, Chicago, Philadelphia, all over the country. So we have to get the community involved so you all can stand up and protect our public schools. Now, in some parts of it, to me, I don't think it should have to happen when you have to go on a hunger strike to save your neighborhood school. I don't think you should have to go through something like that. But that being said, now because of the impact that charter schools and privatizing schools have on communities, we have to do whatever it takes to support and keep our public schools striving. Now keep in mind that we have charter schools in St. Louis, and we have the first one we had, Thurgood Marshall, yeah, unfortunately it closed. Fortunately it closed. But when those schools closed, guess what happened to the kids? Where did they go? They just left out there in space? No, they have to come to the St. Louis public schools. We have to receive those kids, and we receive them with open arms. But see, the charter schools don't have the same, what word I'm looking for? Responsibility, thank you, that we have. We have to conduct ourselves a certain way because the public school, this board, we are open book. You can go on board doc and see everything that we do. What website should I see a charter school? I'm gonna keep going. So now, I joined, and I'm gonna be done. I joined this board to be a helpmate to the public schools, to make sure they have everything they could possibly need to do the best job we can possibly do. I said the best job. Point me to one public school that's perfect. So we're going to do the best job that we can do for the public, for the community, because we are a community. So the taxpayers look at us. If something ain't paid right, the taxpayers look at us. You know, I ain't going to do that. So you know what? And see, a lot of people don't know, or you might know, that we not only have to fight charter schools, we also have to fight the government. Because when they give TIF money, guess where that money comes from? From the public schools. They take money out of our pockets to give to the big business. So does that make sense to anybody out there? I don't think so. So with all that being said, we would like for you to support the public school, the St. Louis public schools, to the best of your ability, because we're going to do to the best of our ability. And keep in mind, we don't get paid.
Board Member Hubbard.
I just wanted to thank the board for the lovely plant they sent me after the death of my mother-in-law. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we need to support the public schools.
Davis.
We were not able to have a legislative meeting yesterday. I had to cancel it because of a scheduling conflict. However, there's two items of legislation, both dealing with changing the district's contribution, not only the districts, but also all LEAs in the city of St. Louis contributions, the employer contribution to the St. Louis public school retirement system. That's House Bill 2846 and Senate Bill 1504. We weren't aware of that legislation being introduced prior to the hearings being set. HB 846 was set for a hearing, second hearing today in the House. SB 1504 was set for a hearing last Wednesday. In the Senate, President Cousins and I went up to Jefferson City to talk to that pensions committee in the Senate about concerns that we had that we've been unable to participate in those conversations about what those funding levels would be. Currently, the way that legislation has been introduced, it would be an additional $16 million contributions between all LEA employers in the city of St. Louis. About $10 million of that would be district contributions. The rest would be split between the 17 charter LEAs who also were not contacted about that. Our commitment to that committee and to the committee chair in the Senate, Senator Black, was that the same as our commitment has been to the retirement system since last January of 2023, is that we will work with them to find a solution to what they perceive as a funding crisis for the retirement system. Although I am happy to say that according to the testimony and the initial numbers that they've done, that the fund is stable until at least 2038. So we certainly have time to work on that so we can balance the needs of our retirees and our current participants in the plan to make sure that they have a stable and growing retirement system, while also doing it in a way that isn't going to take a huge major financial hit to not only our district but also to the charter school districts, which could be catastrophic if it all comes at once, as this legislation has been intended. So that is just the update on what we've been working on through the legislative committee at this point.
I also want to report on, I'm sure everyone has seen what has occurred with Board Bill 197 in regards to tax abatement. I know Board Member Hikes was talking about TIFs, but I want to go into the tax abatement. There was discussion down at the Board of Aldermen in regards to Board Bill 197 and the Midas development. I just want to make sure people understand when it comes to TIFs and tax abatement, it is the responsibility of this district because we are our own taxing entity, that we have our own discussion with developers. No one can actually speak on behalf of the district. No one can negotiate or have discussions in regards to the district. It is the responsibility of the board to make those decisions. So where we are in regards to that, I think a notice had gone out. We cannot negotiate homeless decisions, or we cannot negotiate tax deals, or the Board of Aldermen cannot negotiate those deals on behalf of the district. That has to be something that the district or the board has discussion on and vote on. We have had discussions in regards to that, and that is where that space has been done in regards to our real estate committee. And once we have those votes, we actually bring that vote before the entire board. We have been moving in that direction. That has never been done for this district in the past. I want to commend SLDC because they have finally recognized and provided respect to St. Louis Public School Board. Unbeknownst to a lot of people, this board has been a governing board for the past 4 years. So we have had the power at this point to make those decisions, which we have been making. We have been in discussions when it comes to having tax conversation with developers that are coming into the district, coming into the city, to make decisions regarding what's in the best interest for this district when it comes to that. So we are moving in the right direction, but I want to publicly make sure everybody understand when it comes to making tax abatement decisions in regards to the district, it is the responsibility of the 7 members that you see before you on this dais. So I just want to make sure people understand that, and if there is any questions, feel free to contact individual board members and we'll be happy to respond. Thank you. Any other board members report? Seeing none, we have, public comments. Mr. Ronell.
Good evening, President Cousins, Vice President Davis, to the board, and of course to Superintendent Scarlett, and our waiting public, please be mindful of the following decorum for our public comment. Out of respect for our board members and their mission to conduct district business, we will continue to enforce guidelines for public comments, and they are as follows. Citizens interested in commenting will sign in at the podium between 6 and 6:30 p.m. prior to the board meeting. Commenters may take an available seat in the room. Public comments will occur at the end of each board meeting. Information can be submitted to the board in writing. Each commenter will have up to 3 minutes to address the board. Each commenter must remain respectful and refrain from speaking derogatorily about anyone. Please do not use names. There will be 30 minutes allotted for all comments. If you were not called to speak, you might submit your information in writing or return to the next scheduled meeting with a priority number. Only one person, individual, or group should speak to the same point on one topic. Lastly, each speaker should state the school their child attends prior to speaking. First, we will have Kimberly St. Clair.
Good evening. Good evening, President Cousins, Dr. Scarlett, Superintendent, Vice President, and the rest of the board members. My name is Kimberly St. Clair, and I am the owner, founder, and inventress of DocDash, which is a patented communication system that I developed to work with motorists during traffic stops and medical emergencies. I come to you because with this system, I'm also a native St. Louisan and a certified substitute teacher in the city and both county. And I come to you because I've created a protocols to police engagement curriculum that has found unanimous favor throughout those who have been able to be exposed to it. We launched it in Normandy School District in February, and it gained unanimous support. The Protocols of Police Engagement not only talks about traffic stop etiquette, but it's layered with role play where the students assume very many different positions, police officers, motorists, and we talk about safety. The messages have been very profound, and what I've provided you with is a packet of information that not only talks about the first packet right here is an introduction to me, and if you scan that scan later on, you'll be able to see a short story that really chronicles the success that we've gotten, but it also talks about here how we've taken the curriculum and aligned it with the Missouri state standards and how it aligns with the current curriculum in schools. And my goal is to transfer that success that we have in Normandy into the school districts in the St. Louis public school system. Otika Solution here, as you'll see right here, Otika Solutions is our 501c3 that works more seamlessly with charitable foundations and with schools. I've also gifted you guys with an actual DocDash unit so that you can see exactly what it is. Like I said, DocDash, it talks about protocols to police engagement. during a traffic stop. I echo Dr. Henning's comment about post-secondary options, because what we've done is that we decriminalize the whole engagement, and we open up the opportunity for seniors to go into law enforcement and to be a firefighter or to be a paramedic. So we're very supportive in a lot of the needs here in the school district, and feel like the benefits exceed the time that I have to give. One of the final things I'd love for you guys to take a look at the impact statements that the children have reported after our workshops. It's very impactful, and like I said, if you go to my website under the news, you'll see all of the media report that we attracted in the favor that around St. Louis. And so I would love to schedule a time to discuss the far-reaching benefits of Doc Dash and how we can transfer that success. We're gifting all seniors with a Doc Dash unit. So not only do we teach the protocols of police engagement, role play, how to make good decisions and how to posture, but we also gift the seniors and the driving juniors Doc Dash units at the end of the year. And so we have partnered with MoDOT. MoDOT gifted us a $30,000 grant to travel around Missouri, to teach our protocols to police engagement, and to give our Doc Dash unit. And that is how we funded our work at the Normandy School District.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any questions?
William Bill Monroe.
I have a warning letter in my hand, courtesy of the board, president of the board, vice president. I have a warning in my hand from your law firm. I'll be glad to show anybody this letter that I've gotten for speaking as I speak for the last 2 decades up here in behalf of our children. I am writing in response to a recent letter from the attorney from the St. Louis Board of Education saying that my so-called disruptive behavior at recent board meetings will result in my being banned from such meetings in the future. And I wonder, was that because of my announcement that I'm campaigning to run for a seat on this board for the 2025 election? Please be aware that my efforts to participate in board meetings and voice my concerns, opinions, suggestions, and innovative ideas to improve education are based in a lifelong passion to protect the interests and futures of St. Louis students, particularly students of color. Any move to ban me from board meetings will be a violation of my constitutional right to free speech, as well as an affront to the commitment of citizens like me who care deeply about serving and protecting our young people. Recently, I have attempted to introduce the innovative idea of restoring abandoned school buildings in the black community for use as dorms for homeless children. This would protect such at-risk students by reducing the dangers of such properties, which are currently a magnet for vandalism and crime. Board leadership has refused to even speak with me about the feasibility of such a project, much less enable the idea to be presented and be considered by the board and the public. That is a failure of service and innovation that I hope will not continue. Few people in St. Louis have a comparable record of commitment to St. Louis students. I have been at every board meeting, usually the first to speak, for many years, decades. Our schools, teachers, and students and board members need citizens like me, black men, to advocate on their behalf, and I will continue to do so in every way possible. The only other person to face the threat of being banned from the St. Louis Board of Education meeting has been activist Percy Green. I will remind the board that he sued, won, and settled out of court. I do not want to subject the school system to another such result, but I will fight to protect my right to express myself when it comes to the quality and equality of St. Louis education and the constitutional rights of concerned citizens such as myself to support our students. And I want to say, Mr. Hikes, I am the founder of Thurgood Marshall Academy Charter School. And what happened to Thurgood Marshall is what's happening to many black schools across the nation, where we are being told that we can't hear our voices. Okay, I am the founder of Thurgood Marshall, and yet I was not allowed to sit on the citywide planning. There must be a reason. Thank you. Thank me by answering what I'm asking you. And I have a copy of this warning letter that I have. For anybody that wants, I have many copies. You're welcome to see it.
Velma Bailey.
Before I start, I'd like to ask for a point of clarification. I thought I heard the instructions say that 6 and 6:30. When I came to this building, I was not allowed to come in until 6:15. So there was no way that I could sign up at 6 o'clock, which I would have preferred to have done. Protocol already having been established, I'd like to say good evening to everyone. I'm really happy to be here again and see the great work that the Board of Education is conducting, especially with our new superintendent, reaching out to the community and making sure that our children have a way to express themselves and build paradigms for their lifelong success. I came this evening, to share with you something that I have a great passion for, and I'm sure you do too. I'd like to take a Sankofa moment and share with you, when I was a student in the St. Louis Public School District, every year of my career, I got bused to a different school. So from kindergarten to 8th grade, I went to a different school. And we were bused from the north side to have enrollment balance. So I appreciate the information that was presented because it'll be a way for people to stay connected. There could be opportunities for young people to have their letters of reference in that system, and also pictures and communication with people that they may have lost it with. When I started teaching in 1980, the St. Louis Public School District was the largest school district. There were 100,000 children here. We were the largest employer in this region. We were the largest employer in this region. One of the things that we were able to do is often in the summers, there were 4,000 or 5,000 young people who were able to get employment through the St. Louis Agency on Training and Employment just in the area with city recreation. I will hope that we can go back to those kind of days where we can look back and bring back in the greatness that the district had when we were able to provide structured, safe, supervised programming for our young people when they are not in school. The school district has taken many different twists and turns, but it is very imperative that our kids have access to healthy and nutritious food, that they are able to prevent learning loss, and a lot of those opportunities to become resilient, develop social skills, and to interact or link in with your new program, Literacy in the Lou, can be accomplished at summer day camps. I got a chance to share with you one of our partners, Ready Readers, presented us with some books. It's not just a piece of literature, it's also a learning opportunity for kids. And when we have summer camp, we're able to make sure that the children have hands-on, authentic experiences. They can plant seeds, they can go to gardens, they can do all kinds of things to enrich their experience in literature. And as we go back and look, I want to share with you, this is a staff guide from 1946 when the St. Louis Public School District actually trained teachers to have summer camps and put our students in camps. And it was written by Superintendent Hickey. I was looking for that. Do you mind? I'm talking about. Thank you.
Crystal Barnett.
It's already on. All right. I'm Crystal. I've been coming here for 5 years. I started coming here when the state board was in control still. I do want to tell you all that our mission is to equip and connect the people that are not in this room. This board meeting has been going on for 5 years, and as you can see, the parents who need to be here and know where the decision making is happening are not here. These are some of those parents that are from your district. And we brought them here not to leave your school, but to understand what's happening in your school. I came here not really mad, but like concerned. I saw some things about the audits, which was already covered by the CFO. I do want to thank you all for bringing Savvis into the district, because that does help a lot of students. It's helped people personally that I know. I've heard some great things about Live for the Loot. I don't completely understand what the outcomes of the metrics are, but I would like to learn more. But the truth is, I really want to tell you that from 5 years, I've watched several members of the board disregard concerns for the community, misrepresent the narratives of our organization, not understand what our partnership could possibly be, not want to build partnerships in ways that we know is necessary to keep this work going and get these kids reading. I've also listened to a lot of your initiatives that I've never heard of. You said to name the school that my daughter went to. She went to Ames. And these initiatives that you all talked about today, I've never heard. I didn't know anything about a reading and writing initiative. That was not a support that my daughter received when she was a student. I'm an active parent, and I should have knew about that. To you, Mr. Hikes, because I sent y'all this, so I'm not going off this, but I do want to say something to you. My child is now in a charter school because she's been to 5 schools in St. Louis in the last 4 years. So when you all talk about charters versus district, that's weird to me. I want my daughter to learn, and whether it's at Ames, whether it's at Northside, whether it's at this magnet school I just applied for St. Louis Public, I need her to be doing what she's supposed to do. She's now 2 years behind. She has never received an individual reading plan that was supposed to be given from Senate Bill 681. I've never seen the reading success plans that we fought for in 2021. So when we come here and tell you that things are not happening and the videos we watch don't make sense to us, it's my lived experience. It's not an attack against St. Louis Public Schools. My daughter should be in the 8th grade, and she's in the 5th. And I tried you all's programs. I've tried charter schools, and I also tried private. So I'm asking for answers. Because yes, these videos say that kids are learning, but there are 18,000 plus kids in this district. What's happening with the rest of them? I don't know that their parents know about any reading and writing initiatives. We deal with parents on a regular basis, day in, day out, all year long. The ones that you all don't see in these rooms and the ones that's not coming to Lit for a Lou events, but their babies can't read. How do we know that? We're testing them in real time. I hope you all respond to my questions. Everything I ask is in regards to our kids doing well.
Brianna Roseman.
Okie dokie. Okay, hello everybody. My name is Brianna Roseman. I'm advocating for my children at Pamoja Cole. For that school, majority of the teachers at that school are uncertified. It's only a handful, my mom included, Walimu Roseman, that are certified, and we're gonna go from here. Okay, so for some years, I have been concerned about how much of our St. Louis public children are getting out of school. Some that I've met seems very weak in basic skills. Now I am wondering if that is a systematic problem. According to the website that reports to the State Department of St. Louis Public Schools, Missouri Independent, 80% of students between pre-K and 12 are not on reading level or at their grade level. The rate increases to 87% for black students. And according to Chester Asher Foundation of Coalition to STL Kids, the majority of SLPS students are black minorities. And majority of the SLPS schools are in black neighborhoods. These are children who have been in school for years and are struggling with reading throughout their educational careers. Does the district have a program or plan to do a better job of teaching these children how to read, my children how to read? This is my first board meeting. It's not my last. I am presenting today so I can familiarize you all with my face. So here I am. I will be back. I will keep pushing, demanding a change for school systems I put in charge of my children's education. I am aware that St. Louis Public Schools have many strengths, but so many students failing to master an essential skill might be like an anchor that pulls down the quality of the system. I know that the board encourages community engagement, so that's why I'm here. You have my engagement, my full undivided attention. My children need the same opportunity as the next. Being fully invested in my child's education is not solely dependent on me. You as the board will make sure the children in our village are well educated. So please start with educating your teachers and equipping them with top-notch essentials so my children can confidently and comfortably sit and take a test, pass a quiz, and excel to the next level without any challenges. Again, I'm Brianna Roseman.
Greg Michelle.
Good evening. I want to thank you for allowing me to speak. First, I want to preface all that I am saying is that I understand first and foremost your job is to ensure an excellent education for the children on a daily basis. However, the vacant school buildings across St. Louis are harming surrounding neighborhoods while damaging the reputation, the status, and public perception of the school district. Right now, there's a strategic land use planning as well as a separate neighborhood planning efforts underway where these vacant schools are located. As a citizen, I'm involved in the land use planning. I recently found out that the school district has not responded to invitations to participate in these ongoing planning initiatives. Yet participation in both these processes is a cost-effective way to leverage the involvement of the school district and help find potential new reuses for each school. Schools are assets for the neighborhoods they sit in. They are owned by the public. That includes those who live around the schools. The first task is to look for uses that can serve the community. This requires effort. Kansas City has clearly written four-step framework that includes the neighborhood in finding uses for vacant schools. It is a good example how to build an inclusive public process. It is time for the school board to ensure every effort is made to find a reuse for each and every school under its supervision for the health and welfare of both the school district and the community. And this does not mean handing vacant schools off to speculators. Walkability of the city has been emphasized as central to strategic land use conversations. All the vacant schools were once in walkable neighborhoods. A strategy of carving neighborhood schools out of larger schools and finding different uses for the remaining of the building could serve as a way to contribute to the rebuilding of these neighborhoods. With a goal of walkable communities for St. Louis, it is likely a more effective long-range real estate strategy to maintain ownership of school buildings and to serve the school district in the public interest as St. Louis is revitalized and grows again. Protecting the well-being of the children is a stated community goal for Dr. Scarlett. The school board has a responsibility to support her efforts by ensuring environments children grow up in are healthy and productive. The situation in St. Louis is serious and needs action now. The failure to provide quality environments for children is harming the mission of the school district and the ability of Dr. Scarlett to provide the best outcomes for the community she's committed herself to serve. I have a grandson at Malincrot grade school. Thank you.
Nate Lindsay.
Good evening. My name is Nate Lindsay. I'm the proud parent of a Merrimack Elementary pre-K student and resident of the Dutchtown neighborhood. I live approximately 600 feet from Cleveland High School. That's the subject of my comment to the board this evening. I volunteer with Dutchtown Main Streets to do vacancy litigation work, which targets the over 20% vacancy rate in our neighborhood. It was a new strategy for our organization that we intentionally took on a new role we were well suited to play, litigant versus a bad actor, and set aside a role that we were not well suited to play, which was a development deal maker. Since fall of 2022, we partnered with legal services and other nonprofit developers, as well as my own law firm, and brought 50 properties to occupancy by lowering acquisition costs for potential developers. I'm telling you this success story because to get there, our organization had to come to grips with the fact that we were not well positioned to be a developer or a deal maker. I'm here to let you know and let you in on a not-so-secret secret. I think St. Louis Public Schools is in the same boat. As a school district, your primary function is not developing property, not determining uses, and unfortunately, but understandably, you lack the capacity and skill set to do that work. To the contrary, you are incredible educators, incredible administrators. With the board and Dr. Scarlett's leadership, you are currently turning a cargo ship-sized organization and charting a better path for our students and families in the face of powerful interests that we know want to see you fail. I know there is no shortcut to St. Louis's success that circumvents this school district and the children that are in it. That said, I stand with strong resolve requesting that this board adjust its real estate strategy by unburdening itself from the obligation to attract developers to vacant schools. Restoration St. Louis in 2017, Billy Bush and Craftig in 2018, the Opus Group in 2020, and most recently Chris Goodson and Jean Slay's Boys and Girls Club. That's a non-exhaustive list of developers that my organization has tried to bring to the table with SLPS and SLDC. For a variety of reasons, none of these opportunities came to fruition. I don't blame the district alone, and I don't blame SLDC or the city alone. The problems and the solutions around excess vacant school buildings are complex. Today, I advocate for simplifying that problem. Sell these buildings to the city of St. Louis. In 2021, this idea in the form of Resolution 122 was introduced by Alderman Cohn and had 13 sponsors on the Board of Aldermen. Unfortunately, it was held in committee. Today, I'm asking you, the seller, to consider this solution while my own neighbors are at a town hall with SLDC asking Neil Richardson to consider the same thing. Collectively, we as St. Louis should commit to the use of our municipal dollars to purchase the district's vacant school buildings. This accomplishes two goals toward a better St. Louis. First, it infuses cash into the St. Louis public school system and assists current students. Second, it puts the development of large-scale vacancy in the hands of St. Louis Development Corporation, the entity best positioned to do that work in line with the city's economic justice plan and hopefully in line with this district's wishes to make sure that the incentives do not harm the school district. It's a redemption story for both organizations, and I hope that you'll put your name on the byline. Thank you.
That completes public comment.
President Cousins, I'll make a motion to adjourn open session and return to a closed session in accordance with Missouri Revised Statute, Section 610.021, subsections 3 and subsection 13.
Second.
Second.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Hikes?
Yes.
Ms. Weiss?
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard? Yes. Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Cousins?
Yes.
We are adjourned.